not be lost. Perhaps Uncle Cal sold them for a profit.
Cal, how much did you sell them for?
$250 and a beeper.
Winston!
If you were watching television in 2008, there is a very good chance you remember the hype. The posters, the trailers, the primetime slots, the big network promotions. But the actual shows, most of them vanished so fast that people genuinely forgot they ever existed. These were not obscure cable experiments. These were fully produced, heavily marketed sitcoms that aired on major networks like NBC, CBS, Fox, and ABC. They had recognizable casts, experienced creators, and real studio money behind them. And yet, within weeks or months, they were gone. Canceled, buried, and replaced like they never happened.
Hal Vester isn't one of my favorite people, but I also think we might have been a little harsh with him. Just a little, mind you. Winston, you might need to do something.
Cal Vester is a grown man. He can handle himself.
Today, we are going back to 2008 to revisit 10 short-lived sitcoms that time almost completely forgot. Some of these had genuinely strong premieres. Some had talented people attached. And a few of them honestly deserve better than what they got. Drop a comment below and let us know which one of these you actually remember watching, which one you think deserved a longer run, and which one you believe should have never been made in the first place. Number 10, Under One Roof. Starting at number 10, we have Under One Roof.
J-Bone, all of this stuff, man, don't you think you should clean up a little bit?
Yeah, you're right.
This show centered on two brothers who could not have appeared more different on the surface. Callister Hill was a loud, street-smart ex-convict who had just been released from prison. His younger brother, Winston Hill, was a polished, successful real estate developer living in an upscale mansion with a picture-perfect suburban family life. The comedy came from Callister moving directly into Winston's home and turning everything upside down. But the real emotional layer of the show was the backstory. Years earlier, Callister had taken the blame for a car accident to protect his younger brother. When he got out of prison, he called in that favor and showed up at Winston's door. The dynamic had a very clear, fresh Prince of Bel-Air energy, but with the characters older and the culture clash flipped in an interesting direction. Under One Roof premiered on April 16, 2008 on My Network TV and became one of the last original primetime scripted series to air on the network before it shifted entirely towards syndicated programming. The series ran for just one season of 13 episodes before being canceled. It never broke through to mainstream success, but the premise was genuinely solid and the lead performance was more committed than most people expected. Number 9, Factory. At number 9, we have Factory. Factory followed 4 lifelong friends living in a small town who had once dreamed of making something bigger of themselves. Instead, they grew up, stayed put, kept drinking beer together, and ended up working side by side at the local factory. The show revolved around their daily attempts to avoid doing any actual work and their constant failures at keeping their personal relationships from falling apart. The series was directed, produced by, and starred the co-creator of Strangers with Candy, which immediately told you something about the tone and style. The comedy leaned heavily into awkward humor, and the episodes were largely improvised, giving the whole show a loose and almost chaotic energy. Factory premiered on June 29, 2008 on Spike TV, which was not exactly a network known at the time for scripted workplace comedies. That mismatch in platform and content probably hurt the show more than anything else. After just 6 episodes, Factory was canceled. The improvised style and laid-back pacing never connected with a broad enough audience, and the series quietly disappeared almost as fast as it had arrived. Number 8, Welcome to the Captain. At number 8, we have Welcome to the Captain.
How are you? Big day, Jesus. New tenant moving in.
Yeah, I know. Into Lana Moore's old apartment.
This show followed a struggling young writer whose life took an unexpected turn when he moved into a legendary old Hollywood apartment building filled with eccentric, washed up, and wildly unpredictable residents. The ensemble cast was genuinely impressive, featuring recognizable names and real comedic talent across the board, which made the show's failure all the more surprising. CBS green lit the series in June 2007 and gave it a 6-episode order. It premiered on February 4, 2008, airing on CBS in the United States. The pilot debuted to a decent 7.9 million viewers, but that number declined quickly. The remaining episodes averaged around 5.5 million viewers, which was enough to signal trouble almost immediately. On May 14, 2008, CBS officially canceled the series due to low ratings. The critical response was fairly consistent. The concept of a quirky Hollywood apartment building filled with colorful characters had real potential on paper, but the execution simply never delivered on that promise. It was another case of a genuinely interesting premise that never translated into a show people felt compelled to keep watching. Number 7, Do Not Disturb. At number 7, we have Do Not Disturb.
On a pretzel?
She wants a million pretzels, but instead she's just watching you eat.
It's a mental appetite suppressant. You know what else works? Imagining someone throw up.
This show took viewers inside a once glamorous New York City hotel that had clearly seen better days. The series followed the chaotic behind-the-scenes lives of the hotel staff as they dealt with eccentric guests, workplace rivalries, and their own complicated personal drama playing out in the background. The cast was surprisingly strong for a show that lasted as briefly as it did, and the pilot was directed by a well-known filmmaker, which gave the project extra credibility going in. Do Not Disturb premiered on September 10, 2008 on Fox. Unfortunately, that credibility did not translate into viewers. The premiere drew just 4.7 million viewers, and ratings fell quickly after that. Fox canceled the series after airing only 3 episodes, leaving 2 episodes completely unaired and unseen. Today, Do Not Disturb holds the unusual distinction of being considered borderline lost media. Full episodes are incredibly difficult, if not completely impossible, to find anywhere online. Despite a solid cast and a recognizable director attached to the pilot, this hotel comedy checked out almost immediately after it opened its doors. Number 6, Unhitched. At number 6, we have Unhitched.
Sure, it's game on with Lucas's mommy. Do you know if there's a guest room upstairs?
Oh, you can't do what? Oh my God, Chad. He brought someone? How could he bring someone?
Unhitched followed a group of newly single friends in their 30s who were navigating the painful and often humiliating reality of starting over after failed relationships. They all still believed in love. They all still wanted to find the right person. The problem was that actually finding that person proved far more complicated and embarrassing than any of them had anticipated. The cast included genuinely talented comedic actors, and the premise itself was relatable enough to work. Fox green-lit the series in May 2007 with a modest 6-episode order. It finally premiered on March 2, 2008, pulling in 5.8 million viewers for the pilot. Not a disaster, but not a strong enough number to build on either. The viewership declined almost immediately week after week, bottoming out at 3.1 million viewers by episode 5. Critics were overwhelmingly negative throughout the run. After airing just 6 episodes, Fox officially canceled Unhitched. Despite recognizable names attached to the project, the show never found its footing or its audience. Number 5, Testies.
Here's a product you'll be testing today.
Let me guess. A new battery acid that we spray in our eyes.
No, a new breath freshener made out of cat shit.
At number 5, we have Testies. Testies was a Canadian sitcom created by a producer best known for outrageous boundary-pushing comedy, which immediately told you that subtlety was not going to be part of the formula here. The show followed 2 friends who made their living as professional human guinea pigs at a product testing facility. Each episode revolved around some new bizarre research product the 2 of them had to test, from questionable pharmaceuticals to completely absurd experimental treatments, usually with ridiculous and often deeply unpleasant side effects. The series premiered on October 9, 2008, airing on FX in the United States and on Showcase in Canada. The tone was offbeat, strange, and unapologetically crude. If you were willing to go along with the humor and not take it seriously at all, there were genuinely funny moments scattered throughout. But critics were not amused. Reviews were consistently harsh, describing the humor as juvenile and outright disgusting, which made it very difficult for the show to attract any audience beyond its core fan base. After one 13-episode season, Testies was canceled. However, like many boundary-pushing comedies that get dismissed early, it quietly developed a small but surprisingly loyal cult following over the years, proving that even the most aggressively strange content can find its people eventually. Number 4, Worst Week. At number 4, we have Worst Week.
I think I felt a move.
No, you didn't. Okay, I'm only 7 weeks pregnant. Babies don't start moving until like the 5th month.
Based on a British series, Worst Week followed an entertainment magazine editor named Sam Briggs a genuinely well-meaning guy whose only real goal was to get his future in-laws to like him. The problem was that every single time Sam attempted to make a good impression on his fiance's parents, something went catastrophically and spectacularly wrong. An unplanned pregnancy added even more pressure to an already disaster-prone situation, turning the wedding countdown into something closer to a slow-motion catastrophe. Interestingly, Fox originally developed the show, but the pilot never moved forward. CBS picked it up, retooled it slightly, and premiered it on September 22, 2008. It debuted to a strong 10.9 million viewers. Unlike almost every other show on this list, ratings actually remained fairly solid throughout the season, and critical reviews were generally favorable. So its cancellation after just one season genuinely came as a surprise to many people who had been following it. Meanwhile, the original British version it was based on ran for 3 seasons. Worst Week was not a ratings disaster. It was more a case of being a perfectly decent show in a year when networks were being completely ruthless with their decisions. Number 3, The Return of Jezebel, James.
Has it all together.
Coffee, please. Low-fat milk. Smell it first.
Got it.
Her sister Coco doesn't.
At number 3, we have The Return of Jezebel, James. This show starred a well-known actress as Sarah Tompkins, a successful children's book editor who was unable to have children of her own. Desperate to start a family, she turned to her estranged younger sister and asked her to serve as a surrogate, which immediately reopened years of unresolved tension and complicated family history between them. The series was created by the writer behind Gilmore Girls and later The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which set extremely high expectations before a single episode had even aired. The show premiered on March 14, 2008 on Fox with a 2-episode debut, but ratings were weak immediately out of the gate, pulling in just 3.1 million viewers. It was beaten soundly by repeats of other shows and even a primetime game show special that same night. After only 3 episodes, Fox pulled the series entirely and replaced it with reruns of another show, leaving 4 episodes completely unaired. Critical response was harsh from the very beginning, with reviewers calling the writing grating and the characters fundamentally unlikable. Despite the significant pedigree behind it, The Return of Jezebel, James never found an audience and was effectively finished before it ever had a real chance to breathe. Number 2, Misguided.
Coming spelled C-O-M.
At number 2, we have Misguided. Misguided centered on Becky Freely, a well-meaning but socially awkward guidance counselor who returned to her old high school hoping to finally become the person she never managed to be as a teenager. Working alongside her was a former classmate who had been popular in school and who still seemed to have life considerably more together, creating an immediate rivalry both professionally and personally. The series was produced by Ashton Kutcher and premiered on March 18, 2008 on ABC, airing after Dancing with the Stars, and pulling in an impressive 9.3 million viewers for the debut. That was a strong start by any measure. But ABC quickly shifted the show to Thursday nights at 8 p.m. and began airing 2 episodes back-to-back over the following weeks. That scheduling decision proved disastrous. Viewership dropped almost immediately, falling as low as 4.2 million viewers. While reviews were generally positive and many critics specifically praised the lead performance, the numbers simply were not strong enough to justify a second season. Misguided was canceled after airing just 7 episodes, becoming yet another ABC comedy that never quite found its footing despite a genuinely promising start. Number 1, Kath and Kim.
Is it Carrie Kenny called? No, Sharon. What about Misty Hyman? Is Misty Hyman called? No, Sharon, love.
And at number 1, the most memorable failed sitcom of 2008, Kath and Kim. Kath and Kim was adapted from a wildly popular Australian sitcom of the same name. The American version centered on a deeply dysfunctional and deeply embarrassing mother-daughter relationship. The casting was strong on paper. A veteran comedy actress as the relentlessly upbeat and oblivious mother Kath, and another well-known actress as her completely self-absorbed daughter Kim. The supporting cast was equally stacked with recognizable comedic talent throughout. NBC premiered the series on October 9, 2008, placing it in a strong time slot between My Name is Earl and The Office. That positioning helped it pull in a respectable 7.5 million viewers for the debut. On paper, everything looked right. The show was even produced by the same studio that had successfully adapted both Ugly Betty and The Office for American audiences, which made the outlook genuinely optimistic. But almost immediately, things fell apart. By the third episode, ratings had dropped sharply. Viewers checked out and critics were brutal, particularly fans of the beloved original Australian series who felt the adaptation had missed everything that made the original work. One major publication called it a contender for the worst remake ever produced. Despite lasting a full season, Kath and Kim was canceled after just 17 episodes, becoming yet another reminder that not everything translates across cultures, no matter how much money, talent, and promotional support you throw at it. And that wraps up our look at 10 short-lived sitcoms from 2008 that time almost completely forgot. Some of these shows genuinely deserved more of a chance than they got. Others were probably doomed from the very beginning, regardless of what network decisions were made. But all of them are a fascinating reminder of just how unforgiving the television industry can be, and how quickly even heavily marketed, well-funded productions can disappear without leaving any real trace behind. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe so you do not miss more content exactly like this. And drop a comment below telling us which one of these you actually remember and whether you think any of them deserved a second season.